Black eyebrows. People in the beauty world like to say, if you're white and you have black hair, then your eyebrows should be brown. But what they really mean is, if you're white and you have black hair, your eyebrows should be whatever the hell you want. Yes, it's here. The coveted, updated, well, it's only coveted because one person asked for it and because like you just don't really find a video for it anywhere on here. No one cares enough to explain it. We are the minority, but on black eyebrows. So let's do this. So I bet you're wondering, like, what the hell? Are you wearing any makeup? Like, not even foundation? What the hell? Well, there's a reason for this, so cool it. I actually discovered very recently, like yesterday, in a moment of like just wanting my brows to be over with, it's far more effective to do them before foundation. It does depend on the product you use for your brows. I've fallen in love with the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This guy right here doesn't really get along with foundation. Basically a retractable stick. On one end is the pencil, and on the other end there is a highly efficient spoolie. I say this because the bristles are extremely firm and it's smaller than a lot of spoolies, so when you're using it to disperse product, you can actually do it with a precise hand. The stick is extremely tiny, genius because you can use it to mimic hairs, teeny tiny strokes, minimal effort to make them appear natural. The formula is also really light. I want to say it's not pigmented, but it's truly not. Designed to have minimal pigment so that the strokes you draw look soft and natural. It's the most ideal tool to create brows that look natural. I use the shade Granite, like duh. It's the only one that's not brown or taupe or red in any way. It's just like the softest of blacks. Like literally, it's not gray, it's not charcoal. It's just like as soft as black can possibly get. Back to the no makeup thing. This product, because it's lightly pigmented, kind of battles with foundation when you put it over foundation. Foundation is thicker and more pigmented. Sticks to the tip of this and just like completely takes over the formula of the stick, so it can't compete. So no foundation yet, brows first. When this product like goes straight onto skin / hair, that's when you get like the ideal result. News, I would highly recommend you switch to this product for your brows if you want them to be on fleek at all times. So let's jump into the tutorial now, shall we? So I'm going to show you some of the quirks of my natural brows so that if you have similar quirks we can work together on how to deal with them. On this brow, you can see that it's pretty straight across, like on the bottom, and there aren't really hairs like growing out of weird holes. Yet on this side, some of the hairs are missing, where on the other side they're full. That's just something that has to be evened out with makeup. So when I pluck, I just pay attention to where the bulk of the bottom of the brow is, so that the hairs are even on both sides. So I love these mini tweezers because I feel like when my hand is closer to the action, I have more control. I just start under the arch, pluck the obvious ones that are nowhere near my main brow. Then as I get closer, there are always little guys that don't really connect with the arch or body that need to go. Then I move to the inner corner and pluck everything that doesn't connect with the main line. Now, I don't have a tail. Most of you do. I just like hate my natural tail. It's sparse and unnecessary. I also do my brows differently like all the time. Sometimes Spock eyebrows, sometimes overly arched and villainous, so the tail just gets in the way and I don't feel that it's needed. So I pluck a lot of that off. I don't do any plucking at the top because when the hairs stick up there, it adds to the naturalness later on. I do, however, grab preferably nail scissors, but mine broke, of course. Using full-sized real scissors, looking like a real tard. I just like flatten them to my forehead and trim just the inner part where they're a tad overgrown. Now for the exciting part. I spoolie my brows sideways. I don't want hairs sticking up or down, just essentially in the direction they grow. And then I flip over to the stick, pouring strokes into the main body of my brow. This is just a matter of lightly touching the pencil to your face and making tiny hair-like movements in the direction that they would grow if they were real hair. And the reason I start on the body of the brow is so that I can slowly and carefully move my way up to the arch and into the more sparse areas. As I get to the top of my arch, I turn the feathery movements into like more slightly harder handed lines. I do this in the shape that's already there. And I just fill that upper portion of the brow completely. And I continue to fill it in so that it's as dark as the body. Then I go to the lower arch and I do the same thing. So oftentimes I fill the lower arch like more straight than actually arched. Kind of like that look of like a full arch. That tends to go below where the hair grows, which is a-okay as long as it's only slightly. And with the same more hard-handed strokes, I just create a tail. I do this just by dragging the arch down in a smooth curve, connecting both of them to a point. This can get messed up or overdone really easily, but that's totally okay because we're going to clean this all like up later anyhow. And then I just fill in that thing with a couple like layers, just going over with harder strokes until that's filled in. Before we move to the inner corners, just one more time on this side. So again, start with the hair-like strokes through the body. And then harder strokes in the top and the bottom of the arch. Same hard strokes just to fill in that tail. It's okay if they look a bit different right now because we still have some cleaning up to do. So for the inner corners, a light hand is everything. I love the ombre effect on brows, so I just think it's cool and artisanal and I just love it on people. So the very light hand, I draw strokes that shoot up, just like how that hair grows. You can see that like it's very light still, not a lot of product is being deposited. That's what we want. And then as I move outward, I change the direction that they go in, also to match how the hair grows. At this time, I'll flip over to the spoolie. I'll disperse the product. Just press it into the skin and hair, and I just flick it up into the side, just like how my hair grows. Pressing it into the skin will blend the product and take away like any evidence that a pencil made those lines. So yeah. Now back to the pencil. We create a very faint line along the bottom of the inner corner and where the hair is sparse. I do a couple of short and again faint strokes upward from that line, really only on the inner corner and where the hair is sparse also. And then once again with the spoolie, I press it in and I disperse the product. So another recap on this side. I make faint hair strokes going up on that inner corner. Outward in the direction that the hair grows. Spoolie to disperse the product. That faint line underneath. Kind of having to fill this gap in on this side with a couple of short hair strokes going upwards. Spoolie once again to disperse. At this point you can fill it in where it might need a little bit more product. You should be ready to clean things up. I'm just putting a little bit more on the inner corners and on this part, darkening the arch a tiny bit. So take your concealer of choice. Mine is the Maybelline Fit Me in Fair, as always. I just go straight in with the applicator and the tube because this product will only ever touch my face. So, you know, cross-contaminating is not on our list of things to do today. I scrape off most of the product into the tube, and then I just carve out underneath my brow. I do press pretty hard. I know that the concealer is covering like any imperfections. I just carve the underside completely. As well as placing some concealer in the under arch area for some coverage before we go in with eye makeup. I do usually have to pick up a little bit more concealer when I get to the tail. It's usually where it's like a little bit overdrawn, and I'll just have to cover like a sliver of black, so we just want more coverage. And then I use my fingernail to like move any gooping down. Usually I get more. Right now I don't really have that much, but usually it happens on the inner corner where the hairs are like straight up. Just remove that gooping. And then I'm blending with my Real Techniques contour brush, which is what I always use to blend out concealer. This is also why I didn't do any eye makeup either, because I want to be able to like blend down freely without, you know, ruining any makeup that would be there. Make sure to blend to the side so that you don't have a harsh line here. Same over here. Boom. And then I conceal the top, which is a bit more challenging just because of the weird reach. Same thing though, I just press down with the applicator. And I just carve out that line. Make sure when you carve at the tail, you're actually perfecting it to the shape that you desire. And then I blend it up there with the same brush. Same thing on the other side. I just like to eyeball those inner corners, so when I'm carving it out they fall in the same position on both sides. Just carve it out. Blend it out with your concealer blending of choice, and then carve the top. Perfect that arch, and then just blend again. So at this point I steal a trick from Jaclyn Hill, that being to take the brush with whatever leftover concealer and dab a few times on the inner corner just to soften it a tiny bit more. One of my final steps is to grab an angled brush. My holy grail for brows is the Sigma E65, and I perfect the edges on the outer corners and arches just by dragging it along. I need to do this because I have shaky hands, and sometimes when I apply the concealer it can make that area look like microscopically jagged. You might not need to do this step. So now your brows are shaped and perfect, but something doesn't seem right. Your brow hairs likely aren't very dark, so let's darken them. Use an old mascara. Why purchase a black brow gel when mascara is like basically that already? I use CoverGirl Lash Blast Fusion because it sucks butts as a mascara. You heard me. But it literally barely dispenses product onto the lashes, which makes it perfect for dispensing hardly any onto our tiny sensitive little brow hairs. I take a lot of the product off of the wand just back into the tube or whatever. And I just carefully brush it upward on the inner corner hairs. And then I drag it sideways onto the body hairs. Just taking it in the direction all the hairs grow like before. The important thing is not to let it touch your skin or else you'll risk having like a black blob stick to your skin that doesn't belong there. And that's it, guys. So, you know, once they're all said and done, just do your foundation around it and then do your eye makeup, and that's how to make perfect black eyebrows. A few like mainly like versatile products, but really the star, because it's the world's most ideal brow maker, is the Anastasia Brow Wiz. But anyways, give this tutorial a thumbs up, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in my next tutorial. Have a wonderful day. Mwah.